The first of these principles came from a Vedantic scholar named Tulipa. It's not exactly bestseller books, but it's the kind of thing that really excites me because I think of going back 1,000 years or 2,000 years and reading what some of the greatest minds had to say and how open they were to the potentiality that each and every one of us has for greatness. This first principle says, as Tulipa put it, have a mind open to everything and attached to nothing. One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. Each and every one of us, when we close our minds to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us. Having an open mind doesn't necessarily mean finding fault with all of the things that you've been taught by others. It means opening yourself up to the potentiality and possibility that anything and everything is possible. So having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing really means finding within ourselves the ability to get rid of a trait inside ourselves that I find so common in the contemporary world. That most people that I meet spend their lives looking for occasions to feel offended. They are out there actually hoping they can find some reason to be offended, and there's no shortage of reasons. They're out there everywhere. The way this person dresses, what this person said, they turn on the TV, they're offended by this. Someone used language they didn't like. Someone doesn't share the same customs as you. If you keep track tomorrow, you will probably find 100 reasons that you can go around being offended. A mind that open to everything and attached to nothing says, I'm never looking for anything to be offended by. Whatever anybody has to say about anything out there, my response to that is, that's an interesting point of view. I've never considered that before. I remember being interviewed for a morning television show, and the woman who was interviewing me said, how does it feel to be talking to people where audiences of people have all these strange beliefs, these weird things they come to? It intrigued me because one of the things that Emerson said is in one of his very first essays. He says, the first thing that we have to say respecting new views here in New England where we are right now is that they are not new, but the very oldest of thoughts cast into the mold of these new times. That was in 1842 when he was speaking about that. When this woman asked me the question, she said that, doesn't it offend you that there are people out there talking about using crystals to heal somebody? I remember my response. My response was, if I've got hemorrhoids and someone out there convinces me that crystals are going to heal them, I'm ordering crystal chairs. All you have to do is understand the principle called the placebo. What is a placebo? It's nothing more than a convincing belief. If I hand you this pill and I say, this pill is going to cure your arthritis, and you take it and the pill is just a sugar pill, but your arthritis disappears, I'm into buying those placebos. Where can I get them? It's true of everything. When you think about all the things we enjoy and what our life is like, it took people who had a mind that wasn't closed to make the progress that we've made. Progress is impossible if you always do things the way you always do things. The other word in what Tulipa said is, be attached nowhere. Attachment means I am deluding myself into a belief that if I can't have or can't do this or that thing, then somehow I'm going to become immobilized. In a recent book of mine, A Spiritual Solution to Every Problem, I have an observation. It's an observation from Anthony DeMello, a man I respect enormously, a priest who, in The Way to Love, puts it this way. Here's a great test for your relationship, especially those who you are in a relationship with those you love. Not those who are your children, but your spouse and your lovers and so on. So try this test on for size. 1, I am not really attached to you at all. I am merely deluding myself into the belief that without you, I will not be happy. And 2, here's the toughest test for non-attachment. I leave you free to be yourself, to think your thoughts, indulge your tastes, follow your inclinations, behave in ways that you decide are to your liking. How's that for a challenge? So what most of us do in our relationships and why they are not as successful as we would like them to be is that we become attached. And we tell ourselves that if this person behaves in a way that I find offensive, then I can't be happy. I make my happiness, my fulfillment dependent on those people that I love being what I think they should be. Detachment doesn't mean being a victim. It simply means I know I can make my life fulfilled and happy by having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. The third principle is one of my very favorites. It's called there are no justified resentments. This is a very difficult principle for many people to get, but one I believe very strongly in. I was in a group one time of drug addicts and alcoholics, and I was one of the people, a sponsor, and leading this group. And the sign on the wall said, there are no justified resentments in this group. What I said to that group that night was, no matter what anybody says to you here, no matter what kind of anger comes directed toward you, no matter how much hate you may encounter showing up in your life, there are no justified resentments. Meaning that if you carry around resentment inside of you about anything or anyone, and I'm talking about the person you lent money to and hasn't paid you back. I'm talking about the person in your life that you feel was abusive in your life. I'm talking about the person who walked out on you and left you for somebody else. I'm talking about all of these things that you have justified in your heart and in your life that you have the right to be resentful about. I'm suggesting to you that those resentments will end up harming you and creating in you a sense of despair. I've often said that no one ever dies from a snake bite. The snake bite will never kill you. You cannot be unbitten once you are bitten. It's the venom that continues to pour through your system after the bite that will end up destroying you. Now you have to take a look at all the resentment you may have in your life. And I would like to suggest to you that I think there is a wonderful metaphor for this that I have created in my life for how to make this work.